Is Jegant Drago here, and welcome to part 2 in my sort of armor discussion. I wanted to quickly also go into sort of the UI design of how, with the idea of wanting modular armor passives here, how could it be implemented into the game? Because it's easy to just say that we want this armor type, or we just want to be able to choose any armor passive we want. But then the next problem that I personally see, and I'm interested to sort of problem solve here for fun, is what would the UI look like? So here that I have for you is that, and the buff too, beneficial to the new patch buff, is that we die super fast. So it will help me with this argument that basically when you start off the game, they would add, and then I have my mouse here with the circles, we have just 3 extra new slots to select our armor passive. Now I have separated all of the armors to their individual marks, and it's like, oh, why did you separate the 2-second stim with the 2 extra stim capacity? And it's like, because you get to select 3. Each armor basically has a maximum of two passives, and now you get 3. So let's say one of the popular passive is to have stim. So we have stims by 2, and then you love the extra 2 seconds with the passive to the booster with the stim, and then now you get to pick one more, in this case I want the third to sort of be more thematic with the armor rating. So here we have, let's say, provide extra armor rating. So you have 3. Okay, so that's why I've divided all of the passive to have their own like solo category. Now it'll be an easy one and done to just say 3 passives to choose from, and then you can make any combinations you want. Okay, so like if I wanted all of the resistance passive, then okay, go for it. That's an easy one and done. Video's over. Like and subscribe, and then let's talk about more passive ideas in the comments below. But here it might be a little bit too much, and I think about how would the game be when you are starting off as a new player. And as a new player, you're most likely given the higher armor rating of plus 50 HP, right? And then before you get any other armor passives down the line, you might unlock different other things. So these passives will still be like at a 0, and you won't have access to them in the beginning of the game, right? And so note that with the higher armor rating, we are talking about light armor being only 50, then medium is 100, and then when you choose this, and this is where the passive comes into play, where it just plus 52 to every armor. And now why did I put the provide health? Because this passive alone is pretty much worthless, and so I just want to put it together with another passive, which is the higher armor rating. So both of these two go hand in hand. You get, usually it says extra padding. Okay, so the extra padding gives you extra limb health. Okay, and if you recognize it, this is from the Democracy Protects, and the Democracy Protects is also a very nice sort of thematic armor, and the passive is also very thematic with the 50% chance not to die. So I want to keep that theme going and put it together as one. Okay, so if you want the armor rating to be that you want democracy to protect you, here you go, that's your option. And then the other 2 options, you go with the other stuff right here. Okay, now the next topic is about the resistance. Now there is a conversation going on about how this should be 100%, 100%, 100%, and there was like a semi bug where the poison, resistance to gas damage was pretty much giving you 100% if you did a certain combination with the heavy armor and the vitality booster. I think I haven't tried it out myself, but I believe it and I've seen it. I just didn't have time to try it out myself. Okay, now honestly, that should have been kept in the game. Now, did it work on medium and light? I don't think so. But for a more cohesive like thing, taking, even if you take less damage from poison or gas damage, it still forces you to stim basically, and you're still ending up doing the thing that you don't want to do, which is to keep on to stim. You want to just keep on fighting, knowing that you won't take damage from this dot damage right here, from the gas damage. Now, sure, maybe everything should go up to 95 or maybe 99%. So, but this is only for heavy armor. Now understand that heavy armor is still lacking a lot because you are slower in speed and you still kind of just die anyways. You might not get one shot, but I still get one shot honestly. But you might not get one shot all the time, but you're still dying regardless. Okay, so heavy armor needs some buffs. So this is my pitch for, in the sense of these armor passives at the very least. We can go through a whole longer discussion, but put it simply, all of these different resistances, you get 99% resistance because it's a heavier style of armor. Might as well add explosive to the mix as well. Maybe not 99, but let's say we start at 50%, and then this will be the theme for it, 50% for light, and then at least for explosive damage you get 60 for medium and then 70 for heavies. Now I'm not saying the same mathematical thing for these resistances. This is explosive damage, so it's different. So medium armor compared to heavy, you'll be losing 5%. So it'll be let's just round it up to be 95. And then when you are in the light armor, it'll be 90%. Because if you really want to like oh, it's not like that, okay, fine, and like, it will be either 90% and then 85, like the numbers would just need to be tested later. But basically heavy armor gets the most benefit for resistance, 99%, and then as you go down to medium armor, you get a deduction because it's a less heavy armor, it's less padded, less defensive, so naturally it will go down by a percentage, and it will go down once more as a percentage. And this is why I was sort of wanting the armor rating to have at least one of the slots be about resistance and being tanky, while the other two you get any combinations you want. So let's talk about some combinations that could be cool. And of course, if you can have any combinations that you want, either it's just 2 combinations or you just do all 3, I mean, type away and share all your ideas. But one thing for sure that could be fun is definitely to have either more grenades, so you have +2 stims and then +2 throwables. Now, a different idea that I had previously was to like limit the passives, but that still would like not solve the initial problem where certain armors would just be better than others and people would feel the need to just pick a certain armor, not based on looks, but just based on the passive. And here the goal is people should be able to just use any armor they want to look the best that they can / want. Okay, and then the passives would just be in the background and will not get in the way of the player's fashion sense. So in this case, I initially wanted to just put as a passive that gives you just higher capacity. So I'm combining the +2 stims with the +2 grenades, and then the +2 seconds will be combined with some other passive that we can like come up later. It's not really clicking right now. Now, a different passive that I wanted to talk about too that could get some extra changes and benefits now that everything is sort of changed is the marker placement on the map. And this is pretty good because wherever you mark, you can sort of scout ahead if there are more enemies in that certain location anywhere on the map. And sure, if you know the tricks to sort of try to scan the map to find the minor locations, you will not know what those locations exactly are, but at least you know that there is a point of interest in that location. This is not specific to this passive. This is actually for everybody. But what I'm trying to say is that with this passive, when you mark that minor location, it would actually tell you what that location is. So that might be a SAM site or one of those radar stations. And this could be a good buff for this kind of marker passive right here. And I think more people, especially the people who talk about wanting to know where the samples are, this could be a buff right here for this passive, instead of a lot of the ideas that they talk about is to request a booster to know where the samples are. No, just buff this armor passive where when you sort of place a marker on the map, this one will tell you where the samples are or how many samples or maybe the type of samples there are, since this is from the scouting armor. And just being able to know exactly how many samples is on the location that you have pinged, or knowing if this sort of minor location is one of the SEF cannon, or it might be a radar station. It's part of that thematic idea of scouting for your team, and this will make the armor and passive very, very useful. Now, a different combination that could be quite fun is the idea of increasing your throwing range by 30% and having more throwables. Very basic combination. Also, a different passive. I haven't used these passives for quite a while, but maybe they buffed it. But I feel like when you pick up your stims from the supply pack, you get full ammunitions from both your primary and secondary weapon, but somehow you still get only 2 stims and 2 grenades per supply pack. When you have this passive, at the very least, it should give you 3, if not more. Okay, because from having 4 grenades usually now, or 4 stims, this passive gives you 6, right? And then if you call in a supply drop, you still get 2 and 2 per supply, and that just feels bad when you have 6. So having this passive at least should give you 3. So when you pick up 2 supplies, it'll be 3-3, but it should actually just give you like a full 6 when you pick up 1 supply pack and just refill you fully. This should at least help with the issue of like people, when you have 4 players and then supplies come down as 4 and you have like 0 grenades, so you're picking up 2 for yourself. That just feels bad, and that's where the complaints are coming from, that people are just taking up and hogging the supply packs. There's a different issue of hogging when you're solo somewhere else and you took the supplies from your 3 other teammates. But having the passive at the very least give you full capacity in grenades and stims should alleviate this issue of taking up the supply boxes. I've been saying supply pack, that's a different passive, but I'm talking about the supply boxes that you call in, the resupplies. Okay, A different passive combination is the further reduced recoil while prone and the physical peakness. Oh, my bad, my bad. Improved weapon handling and increased melee damage are supposed to be separate. I made a mistake. So these two have gotta be separated. But yeah, improved weapon handling and less drag on weapon movement plus recoil while prone would be such an amazing passive to see combined together. just you just imagine any weapon. One of the famous ones is the HMG. Okay, HMG, and then people right now seems to be using still the uh this passive physical peak to sort of control the recoil. I haven't really done the research and comparison between crouching, but I do know this passive is more popular than the other one. Added that you can sort of walk around or stand to control the recoil, whilst this passive you need to be crouching. So sometimes you don't want to be crouching, and that makes the passive a little bit less useful. With that said, I'm sure there's going to be more passive combinations, so let me know what you would want to try to combine in the comments below. I know that there can be a little bit more work with the resistance to be more interesting, so feel free to think up your own ideas. And I recognize that reducing range in which enemies can detect you could use some work as well, and a little bit of a buff to be a little bit more enticing to users. So this is something that we can talk some more later in the description. With that said, until we meet again.